In the previous video, I added sort of a little start graphic, right? And to do so, I created this function, and the game doesn't start until this function is called, and the function is called by them clicking on this image. Now, this image doesn't change at all as they play the game, and maybe I actually would like it to change, right? So that way it actually sort of reflects what's going on as they play the game. So how can we do that? That means we're going to have to sort of like pause the script. We're going to have to create some little breaks in the script by creating more functions. That could seem a little tricky, right? Because we only have this one up here, but we'll show you a way to do it really quickly. So inside of my center, I'm going to create a div tag, and I'm going to give it an ID. So we'll call this game, I don't know, maybe game area. And basically, as we run the script, we're going to be replacing the contents of this game area. So now what I can do is I can start to break up some of the game here. First, I'm going to define a new function. So we've got this function here, which is called, earlier on in the graphic. But for this to work, we need to call multiple functions. So I'm basically going to go ahead and break or delete my play loop. They can always click the graphic again, and that will allow them to recall it. So I'm going to go ahead and delete my while loop. So that's this part. And then I need to go ahead and delete the part down here too, right? Because this is where the while loop closes. Actually, this is the function. Here's where the while loop closes, right? And so then all of this, I can get out of that one too. All of this right here is what's going to go into the new function. So to create a new function, very similar to the previous one, rewrite function, give it a name. So I'm going to call it part 1 because I intend to have multiple parts, parentheses with nothing in them for right now, and then open curly braces. In here I'm going to paste everything that I just had removed, right? So we've got this if, which is closed here, and then the else. We've got this if here, which is closed there, right? The if else together, right? And that's fine. So how do we call part 1? We could go up here and change this, but that wouldn't really make sense because then we've just then there's no more start game screen, right? And I want there to be multiple parts. So we need to add in a new little bit of JavaScript. What we're going to do here is we're going to tell JavaScript to look for this tag and change what's inside of it. So inside of start game, because I don't want it to happen until they've actually done the opening, I'm going to put a new tag. So I'm going to put documents dot get elements by ID, and then in parentheses, this is going to be the name of the ID I'm looking for. So I had called it game area, right? So game underscore area. What it's going to do is JavaScript is going to go through my HTML up there and it's going to find this. And then I want it to change what's in there. So I'm going to do inner.inner HTML and then equals. And we're going to put some new HTML in there. And then we'll close with a semicolon. Now right now I have this in there and I want it to be similar. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste. Now there is a slight little issue with this, with what I've done here. I've told it that I want the inner HTML to be this, and I've opened this attribute with a double quote, and I've closed the double quote. My HTML is also using double quotes, so that's problematic. So I don't want to use the same ones. So instead I can use a single quote for here, there we go, and close it with a single quote. Otherwise it's going to try to close it early, and that would be problematic. So it doesn't matter whether you're using single quotes or double quotes, as long as you don't use them for both, because then you'll run into some trouble. So I found a new image on Wikimedia Commons that I want to use for the graphic to change. And I've renamed it to game01.png. I just took a screenshot like before because I still don't have I still haven't activated my copy of Photoshop. So game01.png, and instead of calling start game, this is now going to call the other function, part1. Alright, so if it works, if I didn't do anything wrong, if I didn't have any typos, the game should start with this, and then once we click on it, it should say Dino Battle. It should ask if they want to play, and then it should change the graphic after that to this new jungle. When I click on that new jungle, it should do this. So let's see if it works. I'll save, I'll reload, click to start, Dino Battle. Do I want to play? Okay. Perfect. It changed the graphic. Now, it might be a good idea to also modify this to also say, like, click to continue or something like that, which I didn't do, but, you can do that. So you can just, either use a graphic editor that you might have installed, or just go to another meme creator site like I showed in the previous video. So if I click, it didn't work. Why? Part 1, on-click part 1. Here's part 1. Let's try, okay. So we did this little confirm right here that defined user play inside of this function, and we didn't make it a global variable. So user play equals true here because we clicked yes, but it doesn't equal it here because once the function ended, that variable went goodbye. So yeah, so it's fine. We'll talk about how we could fix that later. For right now, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this conditional, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the else down here. Oh wait, was there something else? Was there something else? If right, so this opens it. Okay, there's the else. This little curly brace here after game over was a part of that if, right? So if we look again, if, right, open curly brace, you can see the little blue mark there matching them up, right? This finishes this if before the else begins. So I'm going to delete that else, and delete this if, and let's see if what I believe to be true is actually true. So I'll save, I reload, click to start, okay. Do you want to play? It's creating this variable, it's never going to use it, doesn't matter, whatever. Press OK. If I click, perfect, right? So this is how you could create multiple parts of the story where the graphic actually changes to reflect what's going on in the story. And maybe when the game ends, maybe down here, whether they win or lose, maybe it should change the graphic too, right? That's an idea. So see if you can figure out how to do that based on what we covered in this video.